Hello again, chaps and chapettes. How are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, we're going to see a return to form on my channel tonight, guys, because I've got another black pill for us all to swallow. You know how I usually bring you examples and stories about how animalistic and barbaric these boat people can actually be and how incompatible they are with us as a country and as a people. Well, I've got a story tonight, guys. It's going to carry on with that trend. Quite a horrific story, to be quite honest with you. Now, I've got to stipulate before I go on, guys. I don't enjoy bringing you stories such as these. They are depressing to read, they really are. But I do feel, as someone who has a relatively small YouTube channel, that it is my duty to bring stories such as these into the public eye more than the press do. To my subscribers, for example, and people who may stumble across my content, I would feel I would be letting people down in this country if I didn't highlight just how barbaric these people can actually be and how they should be removed as quickly as possible. So, in a nutshell, we have an illegal migrant over in Oxford who has been doing unspeakable things to a 15-year-old young girl. So let's have a read what this dirty bastard's been doing, shall we? An asylum seeker forced a girl of 15 to the ground and R-worded her while demanding she be a sex doll, a court has heard. 15 years old. Amin Abdi Mofrad, of course, is accused of R-wording a hapless teenager in an alleyway in Oxford in February last year. The 35-year-old is then said to have sent a picture of himself kissing her to his pals to celebrate his achievement. Now, let's just put this into perspective here, guys. R-wording a 15-year-old girl is an achievement to these people. Just let that sink in for a few seconds. An achievement. Paedophilia is an achievement. And Keir Starmer wants us to come together with these people. Laughable. Absolutely laughable. A jury at Oxford Crown Court this morning heard how Mofrad, who is an asylum seeker seeking status in the UK, allegedly sent the sick snap and boasted, "I've just F-worded 2 prostitutes." Cops found the messages on his mobile phone after he was identified from an image the victim's friend snapped at the scene. The girl had been out at a supposedly booze-free event for underage clubbers. However, she and her pal were able to buy a small bottle of vodka, and you see where the press is going with this. They're trying to blame the booze for what happened to this poor girl. Absolutely rancid rhetoric that the press always do try and push on people when it comes to stories such as these. Even right-wing publications such as The Sun, the Daily Mail, the Daily Express, they all do the same. You cannot be allowed to shine a bad light on these parasites. When they left the club at 10:30 p.m, the pair used a fake ID to buy a large 18 bottle of vodka from a nearby shop. So it's gone from a small bottle to a large bottle. Do you see what I mean? They carried on drinking booze with friends, leaving the alleged victim unable to walk straight, before walking towards a car park where they had planned to pick up and go home. Where they were planned to be picked up and go home, excuse me. Prosecutor Patrick Upwood KC said that they were on their way to the car park at 11:30 p.m. The youngsters were catcalled by 2 men sitting on a bench in Oxford city centre. He told the jury the defendant the prosecution said was the older man. He was at the time 34 and was nearly 20 years older than the girls. As the girls walked towards the bench, he got up and approached them, saying, "Hi, how are you? What are you doing?" Instant alarm bells there. The men went on to making admiring comments about how nice the girls looked. 15 years old, nice looking. 34 years old. Words just simply fail me, my friends, they really do. The men went on to make admiring comments about how nice the girls looked. Initially, the girls thought they were being nice, possibly even flattering. There is no doubt the amount of alcohol influenced their initial reactions. Do you see what I mean? No matter how pissed a girl, no matter what age she is you cannot come on to them, for fuck's sake. Drunk or no drunk, it's no excuse. Why are they trying to peddle this? I have no idea. It makes me sick to my fucking stomach. After a brief kiss, Abdili Mofrad then allegedly grabbed the teen's bottom and tried to put his hand down her trousers while she tried to stop him. Well, where do these people think that this is an acceptable way to fucking approach a woman? Now, I'm 42 years old. I've been round the block in my time, believe me, guys. Now, even in my early 20s, when I would have humped a fire hydrant, for fuck's sake, I would never dream of approaching a woman such as this in a club or a bar or a pub, something like that. I'd get my teeth smashed in. What we do here, we approach a girl of our own age, ask if she wants a drink or just start a brief conversation and see how it goes from there. You wouldn't even dream of getting your hand and putting it down a woman's pants. My God, you would be arrested, beaten up by someone in the pub, or get a stiletto heel to the bollocks. They seem to think it is perfectly normal to treat women just like this. I saw a video by Paul Joseph Watson last night about a Muslim man who was in a fucking nightclub somewhere, dancing behind some of these women, and he looked in the camera and went like that behind one of their backs. Sick, twisted individuals we have dealing with here, guys. And more keep pouring in, and more Keir Starmer wants to try and integrate and shoehorn them into our society. We are playing with fucking fire here, my friends. And it's the kids that get the brunt end of it all. Mr. Upwood went on. The next thing the defendant started to do was run his hands all over her breasts and bottom. This is not what she expected, and she made this clear. He pulled on her jeans and her top. The prosecutor continued. The defendant continued his assault, forcing his... Yeah, I better not say that because I'm not going to get monetized otherwise. Fingers in certain areas on this poor girl's anatomy, that's all I'm going to say. Despite the drink she had consumed, the girl struggled. She made it plain verbally she did not want things to happen. His reaction was to force her to the ground beside the bench and say, "I want to F you." I think I'm going to leave that there, guys. It is quite graphic for a Sun article, I've got to say. Now, how can I put this straight? I've got really nothing to add to this, guys. Nothing that I've never said before, but I will try and put it into some kind of, I don't know, analogy, like I do tend to do here. I do enjoy a good analogy on this channel. Let's just say we're all living in like a massive wasteland, full of snow, vegetation and food is at a scarcity, and you're walking over a snowy hill, and beyond this snowy hill is a massive field full of deer. There's a huge herd of deer. You've got a rifle on your back, you've got a bow and arrow on your back. What's the first thing you're going to do as soon as you see them deer? You're starving, you're crazy with hunger. You're going to slaughter probably half of that herd with your rifle. Now my analogy is that herd of deer is the British public, and that man coming over that snowy hill are boat people. We are open season for these people, and the government, Keir Starmer and his MPs, are facilitating the R-word of women and children. That's why we're seeing erection of flags everywhere you go. That's why we are seeing people protesting on a daily basis, pissed off at the very fact that the government are not lifting a fucking finger to keep women and children in this country safe and secure. The Labour Party itself put out a tweet early this afternoon that reads, "Britain stands at a fork in the road. We can choose decency or we can choose division. I choose division. Any fucking day of the week, division. I want the Grand Canyon between us, the white English working class, and these parasitic boat people. I don't want them anywhere near us. The bigger the division, the fucking better, if you ask me." That's all I've got to say on the subject, my friends. A harrowing, terrible story to bring you, but like I say, I do feel it's my duty to bring these stories into the public eye because, yeah, that is absolutely horrific, and I've got no fucking idea what that 15-year-old girl must have gone through, having some stinky-assed, scruffy migrant put his hands all over her body like that. Absolutely abhorrent. Do let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Carpe diem, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.